welcome back. Another edition of the Buzz Podcast. Your boy Cujo. We're running solo today, and today we have a very, very special show for you. It's a little bit different than what we're used to. So if you notice, our intro is a little bit different. I think this one deserves a little bit more gravitas, a little bit more sincereness, because this is a very private or a very personal subject we're getting into. Trigger warning for those that are tuning in. What today's episode is about is going to have to be dealing with several types of abuse, story of a person who not only went through it, came out of it on the other side, is a survivor, is a publicist, has gone on to do quite a lot of things, still helps out people in the local prison system right now. If you don't know who this lady is, she goes by the name of Rosie Juarez. Rosie, like I said, she's been through hell and back. The least I could say. She has a new book out, and I'll put her right here. It'll be going on in the background. Where is it? Oh, snap. I'm not going to hit it. The new book she has right now is called His Niece. And who his is refers to somebody that is very well known throughout the U.S., known as the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez. She knew him as Tío. For those of you who don't speak Spanish, she knew him as Uncle. And this is her story, and we're going to try to get into it. And first and foremost, Rosie, I appreciate you taking the time to come out here. I know it's a difficult subject. I know reading from what I've gotten in the book, it's been kind of hard to put down because I want to, I want to do justice by what you went through, and I don't want to, I don't want to miss something important. But I feel that you have a very important story as far as for the redemption and as far as for the survival, and hopefully, when you share what you share with us, we can. If somebody's going through something like this, they can have the strength that you had and are able to come out and, talk about it. And hopefully, they could get that redemption as well. So, Rosie, appreciate you coming through. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for inviting me, for
Always.
having me here. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I mean, so childhood you've had is not like many, not like many others. You've been through hell and back. But like I said, I don't want to talk so much about your uncle. I want to talk about you, but it's hard to address the subject without. So coming up, I guess we could start within the book. You note that at home itself, there's tribulations between your dad in and out of the system. Your mom always drinking in and out. I mean, I think there's a point in the book, I can't remember where it was, that you had told her that you only knew her sober like 2 days out of her life or something like that, or the past few years or something.
No, that I was here in El Paso because at the time my husband, whom I was married to at the time, was getting stationed. We were getting ready to be stationed in Germany.
Okay.
And we were going to be here for a whole month. And I told her that out of that whole month, I only saw her sober 2 days.
Yeah, that's so. Right off the bat, with the family dynamic at home, because how old were your parents when they had you?
My mom was 18, and my dad was, I think, 21.
Okay, and
yeah, 21.
And did they ever talk to you about how, well, your dad, more or less, how did he get caught up as an addict within the, was it heroin?
Yes, he started heroin. He's never really said when
Okay.
or how or why. But he had struggled with it for a long time.
Yeah. And he comes from a big family, right?
5 kids. No, I want to say 5.
5. And your Uncle Richie was on your dad's side.
Yes.
Okay. Within within the craziness at home, because you guys kept moving back and forth from L.A. to
We lived,
Compton to
yeah, we lived in
fucking-
all. It's because the rent is cheap in those neighborhoods back
yeah.
then. So we were here. I was born here. At 2 years old, my parents decided. Well, my grandfather had suggested it to my father that maybe a different environment may do him some good. And
Okay.
so my mom's parents lived in Los Angeles.
Okay.
And so she reached out to them, and so they welcomed her to come. And so at 2 years old, my parents moved to Los Angeles.
What was your first memory of Los Angeles or California? Do you remember how young you were? You like your first memories of all that?
When my first memories is when we were living in Compton on 71st Street. Those are my first memories.
You were 3 or 4?
Two.
2?
2.5. There's been memories that I've told my dad, and he says, "Man, you remember that? You were so small. How can you remember that?"
Yeah. And what was the environment that your grandpa had suggested to your dad to get away from?
The friends that he had here, the drug influence, the yeah, that was
Running with the
basically
wrong crowd.
running with that life.
Yeah. And then when you guys moved out there, was it the neighbors that were caught up in heroin also?
No, it was not neighbors. They had some friends of theirs
Okay.
that. Where did my dad meet them? I don't know. I just know that they were friends of the family and they would come over.
Okay. And then that's where you had your first, I guess you could say, kind of like stepsister, because you guys took in.
We took in. They were trying to hide a little girl in our family because Child Protective Services were looking for her.
Right.
And so my parents agreed to help them out and bring the little girl over to our house. She was maybe 5, 6 months old.
Jesus. Yeah. Because I know when the way it speaks in the book when you say that your dad, I believe, called your mom and says, "Hey,
Yeah.
we're bringing a little girl home." And she's like, "Wait, is it?" He's like, "No, it's not mine."
Yeah.
Right off the bat, he's like, "No, no, promise. I swear to God, it's not
Because
mine."
my dad was good looking.
Yeah.
So,
Tenía pegue.
yes, of
Tenía
course.
pegue. So, what was it like to? Do you remember, as a 2-year-old, when you see a 6-month-old baby come in to the picture?
Well,
What
by
was
that
your
time, I was a little bit older.
your
But
okay? What was your thought process when that was coming in? Were you kind of like worried for the child, or did you know like what kind of environment you're in?
no, it was normal to me.
Jeez.
So it was fine. My mom tried her best. Yes, my mom had a drinking problem, but at the same time, there was times my mom really did try.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, with us.
And your dad, when he was sober and when he was out of the system, in between, local visits back to the system, what was his demeanor like?
My dad has always been very stable. I want to say stable.
Okay.
Like, if this is the man he is when he's sober, he's not much more different when he's
Okay.
drunk or high or whatever. And so in that case, I always preferred my father over my mom because there wasn't a big change in him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? My father always made an effort to spend time with us, no matter what condition he was in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He took us to basketball courts at night, and he played basketball with us. He spent time with us, changing the oil to the car.
Yeah.
And all the while talking to us. Look, don't be like me. Don't be like my. Don't follow your friends. Monkey see, monkey do.
And then your mom, she would totally flip a switch when she was
Yeah, drunk.
drunk,
Yes.
right?
And it wasn't even at the beginning. Like she'd be buzzing, right, with a couple of drinks, and she was still fine.
Yeah.
And she was still okay. And then she'd get into the laughing part, and then something right after that part is like irritated, mad, and she just snapped for anything.
Jeez, yeah, because I know you wrote that In the book you had wrote that once you heard the laughter, you were kind of scared because you know,
What comes next?
yeah, you know the hands were flying, dragging you across the
Grown.
ground with your hair, and everything else that went with it, and I can't. And you thought at that moment that was just that was life.
Yeah, that's just the way it is here.
That's the way it is there. Jeez, did you see any of that else?
Yes, I did know. I guess a part of me in behind my, I was like, this she shouldn't drink so much. This must mean, do you know what I mean? A
Yeah,
little bit. The conscious, it knows right from wrong. Do you know what I mean?
right,
Even if you're that little, right? But you still love them.
right.
You try and see the good in them. Do you know what I mean? She took, it was nice when my dad sometimes was away because she'd take us to the movies. We saw a lot of movies with her.
Yeah,
She bought us giant coloring books and crayons. I remember that. And so she did try and make up, you know what I mean,
yeah.
for her actions.
Okay,
And so you always got to see the good in people,
yeah.
especially when they're loved ones like that that you care about.
And then there was so I know like a lot of the times you do you feel like those that environment is inherited, or do you think it's just something that comes out? Like, do you think that's like you were saying earlier, monkey see, monkey do? Do you think that's kind of inherited from the situation that maybe her parents were in, or your father's parents were in, or is it more just it was just something inside of them that just didn't work? Or
I think that sometimes when people turn to alcohol, right, or any drug abuse or anything, a lot of times you're trying to mask some hurt that you have inside.
okay,
And especially when it becomes to the point of addiction. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just talking about from my personal
right,
experience. I just believe that you're trying to mask some hurt, some pain, and I feel that my mom, in some way, had a lot of unresolved issues within her upbringing, within her teenage years
okay,
that she struggled with, and she never spoke about it. Or and so because you still feel the pain, you try and self-medicate.
so when seeing your environment that you grew up in, did that affect you when you had children later on? Like, did you ever feel you might repeat the same thing at home, or did you feel that you were, focused on changing, whatever negative you saw or went through at home?
I think that, well, for me personally, as a kid growing up, always saying, I'm not going to be like my parents. I'm not going to be like my parents. And what kid does that? All
Right.
kids say that. I'm going to be better than my parents and this and that.
Yeah.
However, you have these patterns that you've learned. And despite everything that and I address that in my book too, right? You have these patterns that you've learned, that you've grown up with. And sometimes, if you haven't dealt with that pain, those patterns reoccur.
Right.
They will
So
reoccur.
they'll resurface into.
Yes. Until you self reflect
Uh-huh.
and get guidance, get help.
How hard is that to self-reflect?
It's hard because you have to admit to yourself that you're messing up.
So now going back to the younger years, I know when you guys were living in LA and Compton and all the, I mean, I think you said like 4 or 5 different spots, and you guys every other week or every 2 months it was moving here, moving there.
We didn't, maybe a year,
A year?
give or take, but we lived in 71st. I'm not absolutely sure how long. And then after that, we moved to 82nd Street, which is in South Central Los Angeles.
Okay.
And then we lived in Watts In Watts, we stayed there 7 years. I remember because I was already growing older, right? So I remember that we were there about 7 years living in Watts. When we moved from there, we moved to East LA.
Okay. And so within all that time, when did your uncle come into the picture as far as when he started staying with you guys?
I I know he would come in the summers, like so when we lived on 71st and 82nd, he was still young, and so he would come in the summers for visit. And then when he came, we were already living in Watts,
Okay.
and that's he was 18, and so I was about 7 years old about that time.
Okay. So it's about an 11-year age gap.
Yeah, there's 11 years between me and him.
Okay.
Or there was.
And then when was it that you were starting to go back home, or you come back home to El Paso during the summers?
It was the summer I turned 8. Soon after that
Okay.
summer, we started coming over here to El Paso every summer.
And then your uncle, was he being sent? 'Cause I know there's times where it says in the book that your family would get together and have meetings about him because
Well,
he
there
was
was,
wilding out or whatever.
yeah, that was one time. That was in 1975.
Okay.
And because they cared about him and they saw that he was having problems, but they were trying to find a solution.
Okay. And then the solution was to go. What was he? Because he was the youngest of
He
them,
was the youngest.
and your dad was the oldest, right?
Yes, my dad was the oldest.
What was? Do you remember what that dynamic was like? Was your dad? Was he like the picture? Not picture perfect, Buzz. Was he like the typical big brother that I'm gonna look out for him, or was he just like, you know what? It's just another. It's just another guy I got to help take care of, or
No, he was. My dad loved him.
Yeah.
My dad loved him a lot. Yes, they had a special bond between them. But I guess in some ways, my dad was trying to help him out by letting him stay at our house
okay.
and taking him in.
And then so this is where we're gonna get a little bit more. Just fair warning. This is where we're going to talk a little bit more about where you talked about in the book when he started staying in the room with you guys. Like I said, if there's at any point where we're starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable, just let me know and we'll just move on and go from there. So he was. How many summers that you remember was it that he stayed with you guys?
It wasn't when he moved in and when he was 18 years old, he was there on a consistent basis. He wasn't just coming for the summer and leaving.
Okay.
He was living with us on a consistent basis. Yes, he'd leave like to go to San Francisco or just leave back to El Paso or wherever he went because
Right.
I wasn't preview to his reasonings for leaving.
Yeah, he would just get up and go.
Yeah, and so, but that's when he was living with us, and it was on and off, and that's what I said in the book. It was on and off because he'd come, he'd leave, he'd come, and so, and that started in about 1978, 79.
Okay, and usually, if I remember correctly in the book, he started off by sleeping in the couch
No, in our bedroom.
in your bedroom.
Yeah, it was in that bedroom. It was myself and my brother.
Okay.
And that night, the first night that it began, my dad said, "You and your brother sleep together in your brother's bed," and he would sleep in my bed.
Okay.
There were twin beds, and so my dad had bought us walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
And so my brother had his head on one side and I had my head on the other side. And we were playing with the walkie-talkies. If you've ever gotten walkie-talkies, they make noise and the beeping and all that. So apparently he was trying to sleep and we were still playing. Then he got mad after he told us to stop and we didn't. Then that's when he said for me to go lay in the bed with him.
Okay.
And then he told my brother to put away the walkie-talkies or turn them off or whatever. And I was already falling asleep next to him, and that is when he took my hand.
Okay. And that's when it started.
Yeah.
How far after was it that he was with you guys? Did it start?
I'm not sure. I want to say maybe a week or...
Wow. So it was right away.
Yeah.
Jeez. So after that incident happened, you people that haven't been in any kind of situation like that automatically, well, why didn't you say anything? The instead of the listening and
I believe you.
yeah, I believe you. Now it's instead of that, it's the criticism. It's your fault now. It's this. It's that. Did you want to tell your mom or your dad in the morning what had happened, or was it just because I know you said in the book, silence is almost golden because that's the way that you just
Survive.
yeah.
Survive.
Is there a point in the morning when you woke up and you're like knowing that this isn't right, that you're gonna tell your mom and your dad, or was it just
I thought about it, but my mom was drunk, and so I'm like, and yeah, so
and
no, I didn't say anything.
and dad was he there or was
And my
he
dad was excited, and he was happy that my uncle was there, and so
yeah? So you don't want to ruin that for your dad. And then as the time progressed, was this like a daily occurrence or nightly occurrence with this would happen, or would it just be
random.
it'd be random, just random time? Is there how much of a span did this occur? From I guess from the first to I guess you could say the last
6 years.
over 6 years, and it was just randomly throughout when he was just staying with you guys.
Yeah.
So you were how old when it started?
The very first, and that's when he came to live with us. That's when that happened.
Okay.
The very first time that he attempted to do something was at my grandmother's house.
Okay.
And I was 5. I was going to turn 6, and I was laying on the floor, watching TV. Actually, we had just come in from Los Angeles, and my mom went to go take a shower. My brother had already taken a bath, and then my mom went to go take a shower, and I had already taken a bath because we came from a long drive, right? So
Yeah.
me and my brother, we took baths, and my grandma gave us, we ate, and we took a bath, and then my mom asked my uncle, "Can you watch her while?" I guess my brother was asleep because I don't remember. But I remember my mom asking him, "Can you watch her while I take a shower?"
Okay.
And he was sitting on the sofa watching TV. And then he said, "Of course." And then he calls me over to go with him, and I went with him. And he asked me, what did I want to watch on TV? And I said, I didn't know. And so then he found Sesame Street, and I lay down on the floor.
Okay.
And I had my hands like this, holding and propping my head up with my hands, laying on the floor on my tummy. And then he got down on the floor and he turned me over. And first he caressed my back. He caressed my back with just his fingertips. I was wearing one of those blouses where you only tie on the top and on the bottom, and my back was bare.
Okay.
And so he caressed and I thought it was strange, and I turned around and I looked at him, and he smiled, and I turned around and continued watching TV. And then before I knew it, he turned me around and he was trying to pull down my shorts and my underwear.
Okay.
And then I was telling him no, and I was tugging at it. And then I heard the shower turn off, and he heard it too. And then I pulled them up as quick as I can, and then my mom came out.
Okay.
And I followed my mom, and I went to the room.
The savior at that moment.
And that was the
First attempt.
The very first time.
So when this was happening, throughout the 6 years, how did it affect you mentally? Because I mean, like I said, even at a young age, you know what's right and wrong. How did it what effect does it have on you as a child when your innocence is basically taken from you?
You blame yourself. You blame yourself as a little kid. You blame yourself. It's my fault. What did I do? I did something.
And if I remember,
Maybe if I wouldn't have been playing with the walkie-talkies.
yeah, because I know you said right after that the walkie-talkies have been, you can't be anywhere near those things. That those are, because I remember your was it your son?
My son wanted walkie-talkies.
Yeah, and you're like, hell no. Hell no, you're not going to get enough damn walkie-talkies. Not around me. Now, are you still?
Oh, no. No,
Okay, so now walkies are.
no, now my three children that I have at home, yeah, they've had walkie talkies now.
No, because I mean, because anything could trigger anything at any moment,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
especially
No, no,
when
that's gone. Walkie talkies are safe now.
walkie talkies are okay now. Okay, so we're endorsing them now. So, did you? Because I know you had a very strong bond with your brother.
Yeah, me and my brother.
Did you ever confide in him? Why do you feel you didn't confide in him? Was it safer to stay silent, like you said, for survival, or was it that you just didn't want to you didn't want to, paint yourself in that picture, or you didn't want your uncle to have that bad look? I mean, even though the look
No,
was bad later.
yeah, no, I think just for me, it was just protecting, you know what I mean? To protecting myself, protecting my brother. You know what I mean? I didn't say anything.
So when the news started coming out, I know in the book you wrote that you had that there's I guess your aunt when you were staying here in El Paso had a KTLA on the cable, and
Oh,
then
yes, yeah.
she would
Channel 5, yeah.
and that's how you guys kind of found out first off of what the name out there was that
Yeah.
they were using about the Night Stalker.
Yeah, she was following the news that summer. Yeah.
Because she was why was it that she was following that news? Do you remember?
Because I don't necessarily know why she was following it, but she's always looked at the news and she was always like, she likes watching the Mexican news.
Yeah.
She likes watching.
She's informed. She'd like
Yeah.
to be informed.
And so it was not a big deal for me to see her watching the news because that's how she always was. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was not a big deal because Spanish news, English news, LA news, and we lived in LA, so
Right.
there was a special interest in that. I assume so.
Okay. And then I know on there it said I guess there was a composite sketch that came out, and I
Yeah.
remember your aunt kind of flipped out a little bit.
And she asked me, "Who does it do? Who do you think that looks like?" I'm like, "I don't know," but deep down, but I didn't want to.
You don't want to admit it.
Yeah, just because. But then she asked me, and I'm like, "No, it doesn't look like him."
And then after that, that's when they found the fingerprint
Yeah,
and his picture came out.
yeah.
What was your thought when you finally saw him, when the name came out and his picture was like, this is the dude we're looking for?
Well, I didn't see it at that
Okay.
moment because my aunt went into the room and she was crying and she was telling me that it was him. And at that very moment, I didn't see it. And so my first thing was, we gotta go tell grandma. We gotta go tell
Yeah.
grandma. And I mentioned that in the book. Yeah, and we went, and I had never seen her drink ever,
Yeah.
ever. But that night, her nerves, she was so shaky. And so I remember I was shocked
Yeah.
because that's not her character. That's not today her character, and nor then was it her character.
Right. So when it was confirmed that it was him, what did you think and say, like, I knew he had this evil in him because of what had transpired with you? Or were you still kind of in that because of, I mean, they started describing quite, not graphically, but they would put into
See, and
everything he did.
and our family shielded us from all that, so we didn't hear any of that. We didn't see any of that. The TVs were off limits. You turned them off when it first broke out.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So we really didn't know any of the specifics.
How old were you when you found out more about the specifics?
I guess 14, 15 years old, and that's by school because of friends bringing newspapers and stuff like that.
And when you heard about that, did you start like doing like a deep dive into it, or were you
No.
just want the least you know the better?
Yeah, the least.
The least you know.
At that moment, yeah.
So when somebody, because I know even in the book you wrote that there was times where there was a bunch of reporters at your, was it your grandma's house?
Yeah, it was my grandma's house. That was the very next day after they released his name.
Okay, was your grandma's house? Was that over there by the spaghetti bowl where it got flooded out?
That's where we would spend our summers at.
Uh huh.
The house where the The house where the reporters and that I mentioned in a book was in a different location.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I remember you said that the house that you guys would spend your summers was no longer there. I
It's
think it
no
was.
longer there. Today, it's no longer
Yeah,
there.
it's no longer there. So what because I was it your uncle Robert that you
Yes.
said that you remember when you were trying to come into the house and you see the flashing
Yeah,
lights and all the
yeah.
reporters and all the fake stories that were coming out that they're reported on the news about was it body parts that I think they
Yeah,
said
yeah.
that were being mailed to the house or something
It's not true.
ridiculous, something
Yeah.
something ridiculous like that. What was your thought as a kid seeing all that hoopla? When you're seeing all this, you go from one day to the next where you feel like you're just in silence because of whatever, home life was like, and now it's a media frenzy and basically a circus to say the least.
It was scary. It was scary.
And did you feel that you needed to be shielded from that as a kid? Because you're still about roughly how old during
13,
this?
14.
Okay, so you're already a teenager. Give going into the teenage. Did you? I mean, it's kind of a good thing, not good thing, but I can't imagine what that would have been like in today's day and age with all this technology and
Yeah.
all. That would have been fucking nuts.
Yeah, it would have.
That would have been, yeah, that would have been crazy. So going from all that, from your uncle's he's locked up. Your dad basically had you guys move down here to El Paso, right?
Oh, yeah, because we were here already for the summer.
Right. He told you
We were.
guys
And
temporary.
Yeah.
Temporary was never really
Temporary.
temporary.
Yeah, he said it was temporary, but because they stayed back, my dad and my mom and my sister, they stayed back so that way they could be point of contact for our family going over there for court proceedings. And me and my brother, because we were already here in the summer, they said that it's better that we just stay here for safety reasons.
Yeah. Okay. And then you said growing up, being a teenager, I guess back here in El Paso, you started kind of gravitating towards the homies, right? The
Yes.
cholos. And what was it about the cholos and the look? Because I know you said there's a point on there. I believe your aunt took you to go get
In California, she took me to a thrift store and
Yeah.
I bought a bunch of baggy clothes.
bunch of cholo shit. Was it your grandma that said no? Hell no.
My grandma and my tia Sofia, they said no.
This ain't going down. This ain't happening here. What was it about the cholo lifestyle that caught your attention?
I don't know the strength behind it. You know what I mean? The front that they have.
Yeah, the strength behind numbers.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. And I know you. So I remember reading in the book, you kept on saying, you would be defiant a lot of the times to the point where
Yes.
you, no matter what, it just seemed like no matter what, if they said something was up, he was like, nope, it's down. If it's down, it's up.
Yep.
And basically anything, it was just
A rebellious.
you're rebellious. Yes, absolutely. What was school like for you? Was it with everything going on with the school life? What was that like for you? Was it
It
rough?
was hard. It was hard because, first of all, the LA school system is not as, or at least that back then, they're more laid back.
Okay.
I don't remember a lot about grades back in LA school system, but then when I got here, school seemed harder,
Okay.
more advanced than where I was back in LA.
Yeah.
So it was hard. That first semester that I was here in 1985, I failed 4 classes.
Damn.
At the semester end, I passed 2 classes, and one of them was ROTC. Yay, ROTC.
Yay. Yay, RTC.
I passed. But yeah, it was hard. And my tia Sofia, she was on us. You know what I mean? And not in a bad way, in
Right.
a good way. She was like,
The structure.
the structure. Let me see your report card. And what's going on? What work haven't you turned in here? Why do you have this low grade? Well, I don't know.
Unless they're like the kids nowadays are like, oh, it's because they haven't put in the scores yet.
Yeah, no, we didn't have that back then.
Gee, I've heard that so many times.
Yeah, so it was good. You know what I mean, it was the structure. It was an appropriate structured life. You know what I mean? It wasn't nothing overboard or anything like that. It's just that I was not used to that.
Yeah.
And because I was not used to it, and plus everything else that I had grown up with, I found it almost like a culture shock. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because it's like, wow.
Yeah, it's complete. I was a complete 180 from what was going on at home.
And so we had to go to bed at a certain time by 10 o'clock. Everybody needed to be in bed, lights off. And like at my parents' house, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
So it was just structured more. And my aunt, you have these chores to do, and let me teach you how to cook. And so I am who I am because of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to some extent, right? I'm a mixture of everybody because my aunt taught me how to cook. Her husband, my Tío Joseph in the book, he taught me how to laugh. You know what I mean? My Aunt Ruth, she taught me to listen, hear people out, see their heart. She taught me that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Everybody, I'm a mixture of everybody. Todos pusieron su mano.
Yeah. Everybody had la capirotada of everybody.
Yeah.
So what was it? When you were a teenager, I know, like you said, when you're going through your rebellious stage, you were. There was a few times I see that you had stole the. I don't remember which uncle's you found his stash.
Oh, yes, my Uncle Joseph.
And was that the part where the book where you're like, oh, I know you didn't know, but sorry, now you do now.
Now
You
you
do
do.
now. Knowing what you knew as far as for the addictions that your parents dealt with, were you ever scared of touching any kind of those drugs, or was it just more familiarity with it? Or
The drugs, more familiarity with it. If I was scared of anything, was alcohol.
yeah,
Alcohol was a big fear for me because I knew it ran through my mom's side of the family.
oh, okay,
And so alcoholism, and then and my mom.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So if anything was a big deterrent for me, was alcohol. And so that was fearful for me.
yeah.
But it didn't stop me. It wasn't that much. I was like, okay, just 2 wine coolers, you remember, but they used to be popular.
Boone's Farm, the Boone's Farm, the MD 2020s back then.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Seagrams. The
Seagrams,
Seagrams.
Seagrams. Damn, I feel dated now. So what going through what you went through, and I know in your book you said, when the things were happening at your house with your uncle, your Tío Richie, as you say on there, the one thing that you're grateful for was that it was never, it just stayed on the outside. It was never
Yes.
inside. What was it like for you as an adolescent, as a teenager, when it came to like relationships? How did those incidents with your Tío affect like the chemistry or anything
I
with
know.
your first? Was it Arturo the first boyfriend,
No.
or that was
Adrian was my
Adrian?
first boyfriend.
There you go.
My first kiss, I think that's when I felt more of an impact on it, because that's when I was confused,
Okay.
and so I didn't know. Adrian was my boyfriend. He was very nice, very soft, very just soft, gentle, kind, good heart. You know what I mean?
And he's the one that moved out to Cali, right?
Yeah. And then I went into the next relationship. Oh my goodness.
Oh, you said, and then, and that's when that was Arturo.
Yes.
And he was, and that's oddly enough, people were telling you to go with him, right? Because he was clean cut,
Yeah.
and they didn't know the other side of Arturo, which was what he was. Was he a dealer?
No, he was a heroin addict.
He was a heroin addict too.
And I didn't know that until I moved in with him.
How far after?
About a month or maybe 3 weeks, I started noticing, oh, I see this. I see the bottle caps, the burned bottle caps. I know where these are.
The familiarity again.
Yeah. And then I saw him outside through the window. I peeked outside and I saw him rolling up his sleeve with some friends outside in the backyard, and I saw them shooting up.
So at that point, knowing what you knew, going through what you've already experienced, some people would say, why not just take off?
Because I was already pregnant. I was already pregnant, and I wasn't getting along with my mom.
So you felt stuck,
A little,
or
I
just
guess.
this is the way it is, or
This is the way it is for now.
for now. And then,
Because then later on, I made myself a promise. I said, I'm going to stay with him until I graduated high school. And that's what I said to myself. I'm going to stick it out until I graduate high school and get a job. And that's exactly what I ended up doing.
and when you're in that relationship, was that when was he the one that would shake you?
Yeah, he beat me.
Okay.
Yeah, fist fights.
While pregnant or after?
I was pregnant.
Jeez.
And one of the times I was, I think, 7 or 8 months pregnant. It was right before Thanksgiving. And we had gotten into a big fight, and he hit me. My eye was bruised, and that's when I packed up my things and I told his mom to please drive me to my mom's. And my mom said yes. She opened the door and she let me stay.
And if I remember correctly, when reading that, mom didn't ask questions. She's like, "Oh, just take that room," or
Yeah, no, she just opened the door and she said yes, come in. But she didn't say anything.
what did that feel like?
She already knew. But she didn't tell me anything. You know what I mean? She knew. At that point, I kind of already figured she already knows.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of hard for her not to know when she sees this big old bruise on my eye.
Yeah, that's a dead giveaway.
Yeah, you think?
I mean, what is the likelihood of repeating basically, with your dad being an addict, and then all of a sudden somehow this finds you again,
Yeah.
and now you're in this.
But every time he would hit me, like if it was during the day and we get into a fight, he'd hit me. Then he'd leave. And when he left, I'd call the cops and I'd make the report. So then in 1989, he was shoplifting with some people, and he didn't take anything, but
Right.
he got picked up with the people he was with. And then they found out there was a warrant for him, and that I was the one that put the warrant. So I went to the jail to go see him, and then I came back home, and he wanted me to drop the charges. So I told my mom, I said, hey, Mom, he wants me to drop the charges. And then my mom was smoking a cigarette, and I remember her saying, okay, you have to go this, you got to go here, you got to talk to the bail bondsman, you have to. And she started giving me the whole rundown of
Right.
what I needed to
The
do.
whole process.
And I looked at her and I was like, man, if I stay, I'm going to end up just like her.
Wow. Because your mom, at home it would get crazy,
Yeah,
right?
it would get crazy between her and my dad, yes.
Yeah, because I know in the book you write that after the laughter, and I guess on there, if I remember correctly, that your mom would just like pick at your dad, and the
Yes.
next thing you know, they go into the room, close the door, and
Yeah,
all you hear is just
fighting.
scuttles and scuffles and
Yeah.
banging against the walls.
Because she'd pick at him and pick at him
Yeah.
until he exploded. I'm not saying that she deserved that.
Right.
But at the same time,
Yeah, that was that was the outcome of. I mean, when you're mixing
alcohol, drugs,
a
and
volatile situation, it's bound to blow up.
yeah.
So when you came back and you heard all that and you said that to yourself that I don't want to be like that, you decided not to drop the charges, right?
No, I didn't drop the charges. No.
And then how far after that was it that he
About
came out?
a couple of weeks later, he got out.
What was that like when he came out? Were you were already at your mom's?
I was already staying at my mom's, and he came out and he promised that He was never going to do anything,
Mm-hmm.
bringing down the stars and the moon and I love yous and I promise.
Yeah.
You know how guys do.
Hey, not all of us are like that. Not all of us.
Making these promises.
So when seeing what you saw, why would you want to stay with? If you say you didn't want to be like your mom, why would you want to stay with this
I
dude?
didn't stay there. I took it slow.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to see where if he was really gonna change or whatever. It didn't take long because then he wanted me to go with him to go spend the weekend at his mom's house with
Yeah.
him. I said, bring the Pampers. No Pampers, I'm not going with you. Then he came again, and the second time he came, he wanted me to go with him, and that time he hit me in front of the front. I had stepped outside the door. We lived in the projects. I had stepped outside the front door, and he hit me. He slapped me right there in front.
Yeah.
And my dad and my brother, they heard me scream, and they came out with baseball caps, baseball bats, and he ran off
Yeah.
and didn't catch him. And then after that, he periodically would go to where I was working and go and beg me to go back with him, but I didn't because I knew he was lying. He wasn't going to change. And so at that point, I told him, we want different things in life.
Yeah.
I told him, I think it's just better that we each go our both ways.
Our separate ways. So how far after that was it when it came out that you had your son?
At that time, I already had my son when I broke up with him.
Okay.
At that time, my son was 6 months old.
Okay, so that's when you got him out of that environment.
Yeah.
So
But then, I started dating.
Yeah.
I started dating and still looking like the chola that I used to look like. I was attracting a bunch of no good guys.
yeah.
Then after that, I moved out with a friend. Me and my friend and her boyfriend, we moved out into a place. Then things got wild. The parties, I started seeing a guy that was married or living in common law marriage with a girl. Then I was seeing another guy that I met, and then another guy I met at the bus stop. And so I went a little bit in a wild spell there.
And what do you think? Were you searching for something there, or was it just one of those? You know what? Who cares? Or what do you think was going on? What was going on with you?
I don't. Good question. Good question. I think just trying to get help wherever I could. You know what I mean? One didn't offer me. There was no promises. There was no strings tied because he had his common wife. The other one would give me a ride. Would help me. His name was Joe in the book. He helped me to giving me rides here and there where I needed. Then the other one, I don't even know what happened with him. I don't even know why I ended up with him. But
Yeah.
I know I met him because he gave me a ride. He gave me a ride to work.
Yeah.
Me and my son. And so that's how I ended up meeting him.
Okay.
But the ride wasn't even his. It turned out later.
It was stolen, or
No, it wasn't his.
I thought he stole it as a dude. I mean, I just at a certain point, and guys, definitely on what is it, Amazon, where you could get the book.
Yeah.
On Amazon. His Niece by Rosie Juarez. You need to read this because I'm trying to touch it so much because there's so much to talk about, but there's a lot that I'm leaving out. If you ever thought somebody was cursed, and I mentioned this to you earlier, I think you needed a limpia when you were younger because I mean, the hell that you went through.
I did get the limpia. I did.
How far into was it that the limpia came in? 'Cause I remember reading the limpia. When did you get the limpia? How well did it work?
It worked very well. I got the limpia. I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and I'm covered by the blood of Jesus. And there's the limpia.
That's when was that in Germany?
No, actually, it was in Fort Campbell.
Okay, and that was with your husband.
Yeah, my first husband.
Your first husband.
Yeah.
Okay. What was it
That's the
like
one.
when you finally going through everything that you went through, the wild side, the issues that you had with your uncle, like what was it like to finally trust a guy to be? I mean, you only knew the guy for like a month or two, right?
No,
Something like that.
I only knew him 7 days.
7 days, and you said, "Yep, let's get married. That's if that is the most El Paso fucking thing ever, getting married with a soldier.
Yeah.
What was it like to finally say, you know what, I think I'm well enough to get married, or was it just like, you know what, this is a way out, or
Yeah, this is a way out. I don't have nothing to lose. I wasn't a virgin no more.
yeah,
So many times over.
but that was by choice.
By choice.
By choice.
By
Okay.
choice, yes, yes. I had already survived an abusive relationship and domestic violence. So I knew that if he beat me, I could survive that,
Damn.
right? So I had already been raped. Arturo had raped me. So I knew I could survive that. So to me, it was like, I have nothing to lose. I said, okay. So he left. We went out on 2 dates. He left for 2 months. And then he came back. And 5 days later, we got married. And then that happened with the Middle East, the Persian Gulf War, and all of that. He ended up having to take off for that. During that time, I stayed here. But let me back up a little bit,
Okay.
because before he came into the picture, I had gone to church one night with one of the guys that had invited me to go to church, who said he was a Christian. And he invited me to go to church. And while I was at church, I prayed to God. I said, Lord, why do you keep sending me all these losers?
These losers.
Why can't you just send me one good guy that doesn't drink, who doesn't smoke, doesn't do drugs, doesn't go loquiala with his friends?
Yeah.
And just one. That's all I'm asking for. And then that's when I met him. A couple of months later, like 4 or 5 months later, I met him.
Jeez.
And so he checked off all those boxes
In those 2 days, in those 7 days.
in those 7 days.
Jeez.
So
Yeah.
I married him. My dad didn't believe I was going to get married. He thought I was joking. I was playing. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And my dad didn't want to meet him till afterwards. And so then he went to the Gulf War. We got married. He went to the Gulf War. And when he came back, we moved to Kentucky, because that's where he was stationed. And at that time is when I was in awe. I was in awe of how radical my life had changed just in that period,
Right.
that year. And I prayed in the bathtub. We had just put everything away. We had gone grocery shopping, and my son was asleep. And so I went and took a bath, and I remember telling, it was God's goodness. It was God's goodness. And I told God, I don't know what is it you want with me, but wherever you want me, I'm in a different state, I'm in a different town, I don't know anybody here.
Yeah.
You want me to go to church or something, you need to show me where. And not even 24 hours, a little girl came knocking at our trailer, because we lived in a trailer, and she invited us to go to church.
Jeez.
And so from that point on, my life began to change, slowly but surely. Started reading the Bible, started participating more with church.
Yeah.
And so during that time is also when I saw the Oprah Winfrey Show.
Okay.
And the Oprah Winfrey Show, I was at home and I was washing dishes, and my son was outside. He was already like 3 years old at this time, and he was outside playing with the little neighbor. And I turned on the TV so I could have some noise while I'm washing dishes. And
Yeah.
so she was talking about sexual abuse and molestation with kids and stuff. And she said something that really stuck out to me, that made an impact on me. And that was that no matter how old you were, no matter what your body felt like, no matter if he was an uncle, if he was no matter who he was, it was not your fault. It was because you were a child and he was an adult. It's not your fault. That really stuck with me.
Okay.
And that's when I started to cry. I couldn't control myself. I sat on the sofa, and I had the dish towel, because I had been drying the dishes and I sat at the sofa and I just started crying and crying and crying, because I had always blamed myself. I had always blamed myself. And so then that's when my husband came home and he's like, "What's wrong? What happened?" And it was pretty hard. Yeah.
Did you at that time? Did you tell him?
Yeah, I had told him.
What
At that time, I told him.
What was his response?
And same, like Oprah, it wasn't your fault. You were a baby. You were a little girl. And
How many times before that have you tried to? Before that moment, did you try to ever tell anybody about?
I had told because I was a runaway. I ran away from my Tio Joseph and my Tia Sophia's house. And I ran away and I went to the runaway shelter and they assign you a social worker.
Okay.
And so they took me into a room and the social worker ran through a bunch of questions. And one of the questions was, had you been molested? And I told the social worker, yes, but nothing ever happened out of it. Nobody said anything to me. Nobody asked me after that. Nothing. A couple of days later, I saw my Theo Joseph come to the runaway shelter, and he went into the office. He signed some papers or something and left. But nobody said anything. Nobody approached me. The social worker never asked me. Nothing.
Wow.
Nothing was ever. Nothing. And so then another time was when I wrote a letter to my friend. I've always liked to journal. So I journal, and I think journaling has helped me a lot too.
Okay.
And so I journaled, and I not really journaled, but I wrote a letter to my friend in LA, and I told her, and the letter got returned to sender. And I didn't know that it got returned to sender because I was at school, and my mom got the letter from the mailbox, and she opened it, and she read it. And then she hand carried it to my grandmother's house. My grandmother didn't tell me anything until 1991 when I was getting ready to leave to Kentucky.
And that was how far after?
From the letter, about, I want to say 3 years.
Did your mom ever say anything after she read it?
No, she never said anything to me.
Even after,
After she read it, she never said anything to me.
How did that make you feel? Like when you found out, like did you?
That she knew?
Yeah.
Not surprised.
Really? Because
What happens at home stays at home, kind of thing. Silence, kind of. Silence. You don't talk about the bad things in the families.
right. Yeah, everything stays at home.
Yeah.
And I know you said in the book when your grandma talked to you and basically said that you were lying and basically said, well, why didn't you ever say anything? Because before that, or rewind back before that, when your Theo Richie came out as with the fingerprint, when in the book you wrote that I guess your Tia was trying to get you guys in the car,
Yeah.
and she asked you guys point blank.
Yes, she
you,
asked
your
us.
brother, and
A couple of cousins and family friends.
yeah,
And in the back of a truck, we were getting ready to go to Cloudcroft camping. And we were all together in that bunch.
Yeah.
And then she said they're accusing him of some really bad things. And so I'm asking you guys, did he ever touch you in a way that he shouldn't have or anything like that?
yeah.
And everybody said no. And I just put my head down. I said no. And nodding, no.
Now removed, 20, 30 years from it, from the incident. Do you know if you were the only one in the?
I don't know.
Again, silence is survival.
Yeah. I don't know.
So when
And I don't really have contact with my
those cousins and all that.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could just imagine because I mean the turmoil, the volatile situation, the volatile family dynamic is so. I mean, it's understandable why, right? Who was the first person that when you finally told them that they believed you about the incident,
Within the family?
or just in general, like who was the first person that believed you and was siding with you and was trying to help you in any form?
I want to say Kathy Fithian. She was my pastor's wife back in Germany. and that really like tried to help me like process it and all of that. It was her.
What was that help like? Was it like did she try to? Was it like was it reliving the situation and try to make you like see good or bad, or like what was the
No, it
process
was
like?
just a process of tell me, talk to me, tell me what happened,
Yeah.
and just the fact of someone that believed you, and you talk about it. Have you ever been sick?
Yes.
And have you ever had a stomach virus?
Mm-hmm.
And so how you have the stomach virus, right? And your intestines are churning, and then you tell somebody and they say, oh, drink baking soda. My dad's always this, drink baking soda with lemon, it'll make you feel better. And then you drink it, but it still doesn't feel better.
Right.
And then somebody else comes along, drink Pepto-Bismol, it should help you. And so you drink it, right? And you're thinking, oh, it's going to make me feel better. And so you drink it, and you still don't feel better. And then all of a sudden you throw up. And then you feel your whole body relaxes because, oh, that's what was wrong. I needed to get it out. It's the same thing. So all that I was going through, the rebellion, the promiscuity that I was going through, the drinking, all of it. It was just me trying to medicate what was hurting on the inside, just like a stomach virus, trying to medicate and trying to heal myself.
Yeah.
And when I started talking to Kathy about it, I started to feel better. I started to feel better. And the fact that, because she was a pastor's wife, her and her husband had fostered many kids over the years
Okay.
when they were living in the States. So she said that she had seen a lot of the characteristics, that I had a lot of the characteristics that she had dealt with kids that were in the foster care system.
Okay.
And so then when I started talking to her about my upbringing and everything, then she said, okay, let's talk about it. And so that's how the process began of my healing. Because as soon as I started releasing it and her giving me the perspective that I needed to be able to understand, then healing slowly began.
Okay. After that, how far along after was it? Right after the healing was beginning? Is that when you started, when you were writing to your uncle and telling him basically? Because I know in the book you say, well, how did you get him to admit it? That
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, what kind of tricks did you use? But
Yeah.
you just basically just did it. You just
Yeah.
it's just common phrasing and
Just, I didn't want to cause him problems neither.
right.
I had already forgiven him by this point. I wanted him to know that I had forgiven him.
Okay.
And so it was very important for him to know that I had forgiven him, because I call myself a Christian.
Yeah.
I call myself a follower of God. I call myself follower of Jesus. I had to forgive him because he forgave me. And so I wrote to him, and indiscreetly I said, it's amazing what children remember. I told him, for example, I remember pretending to be asleep. Do you know what I'm talking about? And then he wrote back and he said that yes, he knew what I was talking about, because whenever he would touch me or he would have me touch him, I would pretend to be asleep. And so, and he apologized.
Was that apology? Did you feel that that was enough for him to put you what you went through? Do you feel that you needed more than that?
No,
Because you had already forgave him.
because I had already forgiven him.
Now I know there was a point in the letter or in the book also where your grandma finally wanted to know.
Oh,
To the point where she didn't believe anything because you never said anything before. That she wanted you to go with her or with her to
California.
go and see him sit in front of him and accuse him and
yeah.
have him. Did did you show her the letter that said where he said sorry
I had shown it. My dad took the letter because I had shown the letter to my dad,
Uh-huh.
and my dad took it to my Aunt Ruth. And at that point, I don't know if she believed it or not, but I'm sure that my grandmother probably had seen it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
As your grandma, is she still?
No, she passed
She
away.
passed.
Yeah, she passed away 10 years ago.
Okay, because I know your grandpa passed too, right?
Yeah, my grandpa passed in 91.
The colon cancer.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you? I mean, it. I guess I could kind of see the point of your grandma or your grandpa because as parents, you never want to believe the worst about your kids, regardless
And I
of.
understand that completely.
But at the same time, as parents, we feel, especially myself, I'm a grandpa too now. I have a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old. Oh, soon to be 2-year-old on Saturday. I feel like I'm even more adept that I should be make sure that no matter what happens, that I guess I've lived enough and I've seen enough with my own kids that I got to make sure that they're taken care of. And if there's any accusation, I feel like right off the bat, I would believe her instead of anybody else because, I mean, my baby wouldn't lie to me. And I don't know. I don't know if it's because it's the different generations that we're at. Because when you're older, like you said, everything that stays in house, everything that happens at the house stays in house. Nobody knows. Nobody has to know. And you had written a letter there to your uncle where you had threatened him to either come clean or I'm going to the was it ABC News or
The talk shows,
2020
the
or
talk shows. I
you
said
going to
talk
talk to
shows.
Oprah.
Talk to Oprah, Sally Raphael.
Sally, oh God! Shout out to Sally. Oh man, it was that. Why was it so important for you to get that from him? At that point, had you already forgiven him?
I had forgiven him, but my grandmother kept asking me over and over and over and over.
Okay.
It came to a point where I couldn't even call her and have a conversation with her because she would ask again to see if I changed my story.
Right.
And my story never changed.
Yeah. No, you can't change the truth.
And so I'm like, hey, you need to tell your mom because she wants to know the truth, so you need to come clean with her. You know that I can. I shouldn't have gone about it that way, but I was trying to get her what she wanted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, anger has a weird way of having people deal with things. And what do you think it was that he didn't? Why didn't he want to admit to her? I mean, it's not like was it the shame you think? Was it the? I mean, because she can't do nothing to him in there.
Yeah.
She can't get to him. I mean, it's.
I wouldn't be able to tell you what his reasoning was.
So when being a third eye looking in, right? People would think, how can you still have love for this guy? Because you kept writing to him after, before you even before he came out or before you said anything. How can you still show love for somebody that did something like that to you?
Because those are the ones that deserve it the most.
Why is that?
Because God loves them. God loves them. They deserve it the most because a lot of their actions are caused by the fact that they're hurting in some way, in some form.
And so since there's been so many different, I mean, there's been so many shows, so many different documentaries and so and somebody said this and they believe it. When you're talking about how God loves them, there's people that are listening and thinking, well, how the heck can God love them if this dude was he was portrayed as like a devil worshiper or whatever because of whatever that I think there's a tattoo he had on his, was it his hand or something like that. What would you say to people that would say that?
What would I say?
Yeah, for people that say that, well, why would God love somebody who's clearly a devil worshiper? Why would he care about them?
Because he is created in God's image. we're all created in God's image.
Yeah.
And sometimes we make bad choices
Yeah.
trying to self medicate,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he was no different. And the same way we have people, there's good and there's bad. You make mistakes.
Yeah. Did you ever feel weird, after what happened, after the incidents that happened with you when he was writing you letters, and every letter he would always have love Richie or love Theo Richie. Did that ever feel weird? Thinking to the point where if you love somebody, if you love me, why would you do what you did?
A lot of people have a misconception about what love is.
Okay.
And so I just attribute it to that. His misconception of love was distorted.
Wow. As now that you are when you found God and that was the light, people would say, how can you believe so much in God or the thought of God when you went through so much? Like, when they always say, as certain atheists will say, well, if God loved you so much, why is there so much negative things that happen, like with the incidents that you went through, when kids get cancer or whatever it is, why does God put certain people through this?
I don't think that it's God that puts certain people through this. I think that it's the enemy, the devil, because we are made in God's image. I feel like sometimes the devil wants to come after us, and he goes after the most vulnerable ones, right? Such as myself, right? And so it was never God that came and did he permit some of these things? Yes, because he can turn the good things in the bad things into good things.
Okay.
Because now with this with my background, I am able to connect with certain people that need that help, that need that helping hand. Because I've been through it, I can reach them and help them out
Okay.
and show them, hey, it doesn't have to be, yes, it was bad. Yes, it was bad. And even though it was bad, it serves a purpose. There's a purpose behind pain. And that purpose is to help somebody else. That's what, and through my affliction, I can help somebody else.
So I know, I think the first time we met, last week, was you're coming from the jail,
Yeah.
which was, I was like, okay, this is word that makes sense. When was it that you got involved, within going to the jail and holding? Was it classes that you're holding?
Yeah. That happened in 2017.
Okay.
I had been teaching in the public school for 13 years. And during that whole time, I was like, these kids are getting worse. What's the purpose of it? You know what I mean? And so I started looking for another type of employment. My friend told me, hey, there's an opening at the prison. You go in at 4 in the morning, you get off at 12 in the afternoon. I'm like, oh, I like that. Right. There's no, it's more laid back, she said. Uh, and so I was like, but the prison, I'm not sure. I had grown up going to the prison, not the prison, but the county jail to go
Right.
visit my dad and stuff. So this is how I grew up. And I thought to myself, do I really want to go back to that?
Right.
But I said, the hours were too tempting. I really like those hours from 4 to 12, 4 in the morning to 12 in the
Yeah.
afternoon. So I applied, and I didn't know if I was going to get the job because there was another person that was more qualified than I was applying for the job. And really, at that moment, I didn't see myself getting the position. But I ended up, God made a way where there seemed to be no way. And so I was hired, and I went in there, and I was able to connect. I started with math and science. I started teaching math, literacy 1 and 2, and math and reading, a little bit preparing them for the GED. But in doing so, I started to connect more with the guys. Then the principal at the time thought it'd be better that I go into a life skill class.
Okay.
So I went into the life skill class, teaching them, preparing them for their release from prison.
Okay.
And so I really enjoyed that because during that class, I was able to share a lot of my experiences because the guy comes into the prison and into my classroom back then, and he would see me 5'1", do you know what I mean, dressed professionally, and this and what does she know about
Right.
the life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What does she know about trap houses? What does she know about the bando? And what does she know about all of those
Yeah.
things, right? And then going through the lessons, I'm like, and look, my parents were this, that, and they did this, that. And I'm like, oh yeah, let me show you. Let me tell you. Let me tell you what I saw.
Jeez.
Let me tell you what I saw. And then they're like, wow, she does know what she's talking about.
Yeah.
And I said, but look, I had to make a change. I had to decide that I was tired, that I was not going to go down that road. And if I can do it, and I am a woman, and I can do it, because the cards are stacked harder against a woman than they are against a man, because we carry our children with us.
Right.
And so it's harder for us to make the change because we have children also that we have to think about, and opposed to a man that went in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's where I found that that everything that I had gone through, the domestic violence that I personally went through, the molestation, you would be shocked how many men have been molested in the prison system. I'm like, wow. Wow. And they won't open up to just
Right.
anybody. Do you know what I mean? They don't go around advertising this and telling it to everybody. But in the conversations that we would have in class, some of them felt comfortable enough to be able to share.
Well,
with
silence
me.
is survival. Like as you said in your
Yeah.
book,
Yeah.
silence is survival. So did you how often do they find out who you are as far as like the street cred in the jail where they know who your uncle is?
That really didn't start coming out until 21 when I did the Tamron Hall show.
Uh-huh.
And the guys at the prison saw it on TV and they saw me there. And so then that's when they,
Was there a change?
in them?
Yeah.
No, no.
Well, they didn't get you like street cred or
No, the street credit was just by telling them some of the stories of
Yeah.
the things I had seen. You know what I mean? That, you know what I mean? Because a lot of those guys grew up the way I grew up, with domestic violence in the house, with drugs in the house, with child abuse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They grew up that way, and so me sharing with them, hey, look, I saw my mom get beat. I had to help her clean up.
right.
I had to help clean, make food, make sure my brother went to bed, make sure my sister went to bed. And we see that, like in one of the modules, in module 2, we see that where they have to talk about healthy relationships and what role did they play in their families, because every person plays a role in their family,
Right.
especially when there's dysfunction in the family.
Yeah.
And you have the little parent, and you have the toy, the screw up, these roles. You know what I mean? And you end up being labeled those roles in dysfunctional families. And so just sharing that. But then when the Tamron Hall show came out, then they're like, oh wow, they
Yeah.
were surprised.
I mean, I think I'd listen a little bit more because, as sometimes, I mean, I've never been in the system, but I've heard people talk about like if somebody is like that well known for doing whatever they did, like there's a certain, I don't want to say it's a certain level of respect, I guess, or whatnot, or sometimes it's even viewed the other way where they have a target on their back, or That's why I was curious to see how the view of you, who, that person was your uncle, and to see if that changed or anything. It's crazy because once they, you mentioned that, especially here in El Paso, I guess, because it's
Yeah.
once you mentioned those two words,
But a
or,
lot of people in the prison, they're not just from El
yeah,
Paso, they're
that's
from
true.
all over the state of Texas. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So they're not just from El Paso.
yeah.
But just the fact that I can tell them some some stories about
Mm-hmm.
my childhood, about and what I saw. And when you get into certain details, they will know that you're not making it up. You know
So,
what I mean?
and I know you brought a book of the letters that
Yeah,
you're,
I brought his letters for in case you wanted to look through them. But
yeah.
yeah, I do have them.
Is there is there any specific letters that no matter what, like, automatically stand out to you? Besides the one that where he admitted, playfully admitted, I guess, because after he said, apologized, then he said you chased him with
When
you
life,
almost chased him with a knife.
that psycho knife.
Yeah, that psycho knife. And I don't, again, your book, his niece, published actually by you as well, right?
Yes, it was published by me.
The Redeemed Ink Press on Amazon. You could get it on there on the Kindle. You could get it on the hard copy or soft copy. I mean, get the book. Trust me, it's 460, no, 76, no, 67 pages.
Yeah,
I think you brought me the book, what, Thursday,
yeah.
something like that.
Thursday after I got out of the prison
Yeah.
because I had gone for prison ministry.
This is what, 4 days later, after work, after things with the grandkids. I'm already at page. I think I told you I left off at what, 388, chapter 65, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a book that you won't want to put down. It's not so much because we're not focusing on who the main, or not the main character, but the side character, which everybody knows. But the main character, from everything that you've gone through, from the fact that you've persevered, that you've done so much. If somebody is going through things right now, and it's weird because April is actually Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and I know earlier you were like, "Oh wow,"
Yeah.
it's not like you guys. It's not like it's a.
We did on purpose.
Yeah, it just, again, the word, the way Mother Earth brings people together at times. If people are going through something like this, do you still believe silence is survival, or do you believe that they need to speak out? And if so, who should they reach out to?
I think that silence is not survival. Silence is a cancer. It eats you away. I think that if you are a person that has gone through something like this, I think your healing begins when you acknowledge it out loud, out loud, to someone you feel safe around.
Okay.
Begin small. Find a close friend.
Yeah.
Find a close friend and talk about it. And if you're so bold and able to, go see a psychologist. My psychologist helped me a lot when I went through it, because I did go with my pastor. I did go counseling through my pastor. I went counseling with a psychologist. I even went to a point where I needed to see a psychiatrist and for a time for medication for antidepressants. But the healing begins when you start talking about it.
Okay.
You'll feel so much better. So much better. Find someone you trust.
How much of that weight did you feel like? Was it like night and day when
Oh
you
yeah,
finally got it off?
yeah, yeah. And
Did you?
slowly but surely, you know what I mean? And you start to feel better. You start to feel better. You feel relief, especially when someone tells you, "Hey, I believe you. I believe you. I believe you."
It's crazy how those few words can make such a huge
Huge
difference.
impact. Yeah.
So
And don't accuse them. Don't accuse them of why didn't you say something.
Yeah, because
People,
that's
people. You just saw the lady from Cesar Chavez. After all these years, she's coming forward. You know, in order to be able to go forward like this, you need to be strong enough because there's going to be critics. There's always critics. Like I tell the guys at the prison, haters are going to hate.
that is true. That is true.
And so you have to be strong enough. And for me, strong enough in God, because for me that's my foundation.
Yeah.
I don't know, I would not be here standing or sitting before you if it were not for him. And that's and strong, you know what I mean, to be able to not only come and tell your family,
Yeah.
that takes strength. And then on top of that, go public the way I have. There's critics. There's
Right.
critics.
What do you say to those critics? Because I know people. Like I said again, with that name of the Night Stalker, right? Everybody, I don't know what it is about criminals that as people we just want to know what's in their head, what were they thinking, why did they do, the why, right? What do you think about people that are saying, why did it take you? Why are you putting this out now? Why is this important now? Because I know in the letters, you had mentioned about a book, and he had basically given you his blessing, right?
Yeah.
To go ahead and write a book about it. When you
And
hear
you
those,
see the letter.
yeah,
You saw the
yeah,
letter.
the letter, the letters in the book. For the people that are saying, well, why is she doing this now? Because obviously people being the haters, that, as you said, everybody's like, oh, well, she's trying to cash in on this, or she's trying to. There's always another motivation behind it, according to our own theories, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Why was it so important for you to have this book out now?
Because I believe that my story can help somebody that has felt like I felt, like the black sheep of the family, who felt that no matter what you do, it's never good enough.
Right.
You're never going to be accepted. You're never going to be believed, right? For that person that's going through that on their own by themselves. That's what I wrote. I never wrote the book for my family.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they're at odds. I'm sure they're at odds.
And regarded, but I didn't write it for them. I didn't even write it for my kids. I didn't write it for them. I wrote it for that girl or that guy that finds himself struggling with the remnants of their childhood and what they went through, and wondering, why do I keep making the same mistakes over and over again? Why, for example, with me, why do I keep choosing the wrong guys over
Yeah.
and over again, right? For that person to see that there is hope, that there is a way out. You can get out. You can make a better life. It's not over.
Right.
And for the critics that say that it's just that I could have stayed quiet and lived comfortably and not said anything, and but that wouldn't have helped somebody else.
Right.
And not only that, the guys at the prison, relentless, Miss, you need to write that book. Miss, it's going to help somebody. You helped me so much. You're going to help somebody.
When you're writing the book, because it is, I don't want to say it's graphic. What it is that it does show your vulnerability, because you open up so much about, the way you felt, the way you saw things, from the tender age of
Little.
from 2 to now. Were you ever afraid of what your children would read about it or think about it or see, either, if not you, somebody else in a different light? Or did you give them a heads up about it? Did they get a chance to read it first? Or is it just, hey,
My children know,
yeah,
especially my oldest son, Jimmy. Yeah. Yeah.
he knew.
Yeah, he knew, right? I've always been an open book with them. They saw many of the mistakes that I made. They were there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were there. I've always tried to be an open book with my kids. There's some things that just recently my son Jimmy said, "Mom, you never talk about your mom."
Right.
I said, and I told him it's very hard for me to talk about my mom.
Yeah.
And he said, "I just don't understand why."
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how to explain to him
Right.
because I don't. There was good things about my mom,
Mm-hmm.
and there were bad things, and I just don't want the bad things to stay.
Right.
So I always try, like my youngest son, he's 10 and he likes puzzles. And I'm like, we're there doing puzzles. My mom loved puzzles. I'll tell him, you know, your grandma loved puzzles.
Yeah.
You know, she liked puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to do that. Yes, there were bad things, but yeah, there's also good. You know what
Right.
I mean? There were also good things.
And your mom passed at an early age, right?
She was
From
41,
cirrhosis.
cirrhosis of the liver.
Did you, like you said, since there was so many bad parts, right? And one would say it wasn't your mom that was bad; it was the alcohol.
It was the alcohol.
Did you forgive her?
Oh, yeah, I had to.
You had to.
I have to. I have to. I have to.
It's
Because it. God is love.
Mm-hmm.
He forgave us, and I'm a human. I have to forgive him too.
Right.
I have to forgive. How can I say and love them? Not just forgive, but love them.
Right. Absolutely. So if
Because those are the ones that need it the most.
yeah, they need more guidance, in whether it be spiritual or just somebody to. I mean, a simple conversation could go a long way. It's a good start, but that's something that I fear nowadays, especially. It's harder for people to talk because they're always on these little damn phones,
Yeah,
and
their phones. Yeah.
normalized conversations aren't normal anymore. And that's something that we're losing. And I hope the story that you've shared, and trust me, there's a lot more that we haven't talked about. But if you do want to know, which you should want to know, on Amazon, she is Rosie Juarez. His Niece is the name of the book. It has letters in there from San Quentin. It has letters in there from her tío.
A birthday cards.
Birthday cards put out by herself, put out by Miss Rosie Juarez as the Redeemed Ink Press. Everything's done by her, for her. And if anybody's having any issues, there is a national sexual assault hotline that's been popping up in the back of the podcast the whole time. It's if you want to reach out, 1-800-656-HOPE, or you could go online .rain, RAINN.org. Free, confidential, 24/7. I believe, like I said, since April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, hopefully your story could reach somebody that is dealing with something and they feel they could be as strong as you are.
Yeah.
And this achieves the goal that you set forth of helping somebody. Before we close out the day or the show, what would be some last words you would like to tell anybody that's listening that's either going through something or knows somebody that's going through something, or just in general, what would you like to get off your chest?
I think someone that's going through something, I've gotten so many text messages of, thank you, you're so brave, you're so strong. This happened to me. And then there's another one, same thing. This happened to me too, thank you, whatever. This book was written for you. It was not your fault. You were a child. They were a grown up.
Yeah.
It's not your fault. No matter what the circumstances were, it was not your fault. Don't blame yourself. Don't live in that shame. There's a better way to live. And if you know someone that's going through that, the best thing you can do is listen to them, tell them that you believe them and that you're there for them to help them in any way that they can, even just being an ear for them to speak into.
Yeah. Absolutely. Just sit there and don't judge.
Don't judge. Why didn't you say something?
Yeah.
No, no.
That doesn't help the situation.
No, it doesn't.
At
It
all.
doesn't.
It and you know with the conversation that we've had when and I've noticed throughout the pod, certain subjects when we talk about certain parts, it's still the pain never really goes away, right?
No, it doesn't, but it gets less and less every day.
Yeah, and you can tell because the affliction in your voice has been,
Up and down.
yeah, but which is granted. I mean, that's how you know the realness is there and the effect it has on a person. And I can't thank you enough for you trusting us to come on here and tell your story. I know you've had other opportunities, but you decided to share your book with us first and foremost and your story, and I thank you for that. If there's any which way we can help, besides going on to Amazon.com and getting on his niece, and I'll post a link later on there, and get the book. It's a hell of a read. Hopefully this read will actually also keep certain people from acting certain ways, because it's easy to judge a book by its cover, but you never know what's really going on behind closed doors, because silence is survival.
Yeah.
And silence should be broken,
Yeah.
because it's important. At the end of the day, a lot of the times we like to put it on ourselves and, well, I don't want this person to feel bad, or I don't want this person to be looked upon, but we never put ourselves first. And that's what we should do, because at the end of the day, we are what's important. Whether you're a mother or a father, you're a caregiver, you're a provider, make sure that you're strong enough and you put your story first so you can be able to provide for those people, and make sure you keep those people safe. And if you feel you might be the one in that addiction,
Get help.
get help. It starts with just one conversation. And again, Rosie, I appreciate you. If anybody wants to get information, either more about the book or just more about you, or where can they reach out to you, or where can they get that?
I have a website. It's called Rosie Juarez. .com, and they can find information. I'm doing this book signing April 25th. Hopefully the books come in time. And so then I'm doing a speaking engagement on May 21st for domestic violence victims and sexual assault.
Okay.
So I'm really looking forward to be able to helping more people and bring awareness to it.
Okay. And they could get all that information on your website, rosie.r.juarez?
Rosie R. Juarez.
Oh, rosierjuarez.com. All right. Well, again, I appreciate you coming through. The book is his niece. It's, I'm trying to see what it is on the...
Oh, on the cover, it's his real signature.
That's his real signature?
Yeah.
Love always your Theo Richie. As every letter, just about every letter finished like that. And there's tons of letters in there. There's tons more that we didn't touch upon. Like I said, we can only squeeze so much into an hour and a half, from in an hour to an hour and a half. Again, I thank you. If you have anybody that you know that could benefit from this, please let them know. The National Sexual Assault Hotline, 1-800-656-HOPE, or online.rainn.org. Till next time, guys, peace, love, and treat somebody correctly.